Hello, this is Dan at Sonicstate, and welcome to a new series on Reavoice Pro 3.3. In these videos, I will first give you a quick overview of the program, and then look at some practical examples of its use. So, what is Reavoice Pro? Well, Reavoice Pro is a standalone program that allows you to automatically or manually adjust the timing, loudness, and pitch of an audio recording. A particularly useful feature is that it can transfer those parameters from one audio clip and apply them to another. This usually works best with voice and monophonic instrument sources. There are several useful applications in film and music production, among others, pitch and time correction of lead vocals, tightening of backing vocals to match the performance of the lead vocal, creating realistic double tracks to thicken a vocal or solo instrument, and automated dialogue replacement or ADR in films. Reavoice Pro manages to do this with a series of tools and processes, the main ones being the APT and the doubler process and the warp region. By the way, the process window can be accessed by pressing the B keyboard shortcut or by right-clicking on the process bar. The first one is the APT process. APT stands for Audio Performance Transfer and is the core functionality that Reavoice Pro has inherited from Vocaline software, a program used in the film industry for automated dialogue replacement. This process transfers the time, pitch, vibrato, and level from one audio file to another.
You are probably asking yourself, well,
what is this?
You are probably asking yourself, well, we are Sonic Talk. We do music technology podcast. We talk about synthesizers, software, recording technology. What is this? You are probably asking yourself, well, we are Sonic Talk. We do music technology podcast. We talk about synthesizers, software.
The doubler process generates a realistic double track, so it's very useful to thicken vocals, for example.
There's always a car. There's always a face. The queue is forever.
The warp process and the warp region provide tools for manual or automated pitch, time, and level editing. The main difference between them is in the workflow. The warp region changes the input track itself, whereas with the warp process you create and modify an output track while keeping the input track unchanged. Each process obviously does a different thing, but the menus are pretty similar and follow the same logic. You choose the process type, the guide track, the target track when using APT, then load a preset, and then choose one or more output tracks. Once the basic process has been applied, you can then access the process control panel to fine-tune specific parameters relevant to the current process. Then you can save these values as a default preset. Now let's have a quick look at the interface and some of its features. In Reavoice Pro, you can have as many tracks as your computer can handle, so you can add or delete tracks depending on the needs of your project. On the left, we have the usual mixing controls for each track. There's also a track display control that switches between single track view and multi-track view. Note that the musical scale values are only visible when in single track mode or when you expand the vertical view. This is obviously very helpful when applying pitch correction. At the top we can define the playback range. In the central area we have the Waveform Display, where you can manually edit different parameters and get useful information like the pitch trace and energy levels. From here you can also access the process control panel. To the right of the interface, you can find the track group controls, so you can quickly hide solo or mute groups of tracks. To create a track group, you go to the Tracks menu and open Manage Track Groups. At the bottom of the screen, we have the transport controls and several other functions, including icons to activate the communication with your DAW through the link and monitor plugins, and a choice of time display formats, BPM, timecode, etc. And a very nice option of defining the pitch grid, music key, and scale. You choose the scale press Add, and then you can see that the note values have been changed on the track. Revoice Pro is a standalone program, so it works as a sort of external editor. This raises two questions in relation to the workflow. How do you monitor the audio? And how do you send audio files to and from Revoice? Let's talk about monitoring first. To monitor Revoice audio output, you have two options. One would be to use a different hardware output from that of your main DAW, and the other option would be to use the Monitor plugin to route the audio from Revoice through your DAW. This plugin is available in Pro Tools as an AAX and Audio Suite plugin, and it is also available as a VST3 and Audio Unit plugin. To set this up in Pro Tools, you insert the Monitor plugin on a stereo track and then click on the cable icon in Revoice. If you go to Edit, Preferences, you can set Revoice as a slave by ticking the Follow DAW Playback box. When the Monitor plugin is not active, Revoice will send the audio to the selected sound card. Once we have sorted the monitoring, the workflow will usually involve three stages. First, sending the audio from your DAW to Revoice, then processing the audio inside Revoice, and finally, sending the audio back to your DAW. In general, the level of integration between your DAW and Revoice will depend mostly on two factors: your DAW's implementation and management of timecode information and related commands, and the support of Audio Suite AAX, VST3 and Audio Unit plugins. So each DAW will have a slightly different workflow. The one method you could use in all DAWs would be bouncing your files and then dragging them from the file browser. In Cubase, Nuendo and Logic Pro, you can copy audio and paste it directly to Revoice, or drag and drop audio directly between the two programs' interface. In fact, the latest Revoice update 3.3 includes support to selection-based processing in Logic Pro 10.3 to transfer audio to Revoice Pro and allow fast capture of multiple regions. If your DAW supports VST3, AU, Audio Suite or AAX plugins, then you can use the Link plugin to quickly transfer audio. Also, Pro Tools users have the extra option of using the Quick APT and Quick Doubler plugins to quickly apply these processes from within Pro Tools. In any case, this is something in constant evolution, and in the latest Revoice Pro 3.3 version, Synchro Arts have also included a new Quick APT, Quick Doubler and Quick Warp workflow for Studio One users. There's detailed information on Revoice's integration and workflow with specific DAWs at the Synchro Arts website. Before I move on to show how Revoice works in Pro Tools, I am quickly going to mention a few other improvements worth noting in the latest 3.3 version. There is a new processing display that shows the amount of editing that the APT and the Warp processes apply to the signal. There are also improvements to level and pitch editing. For example, now sibilants are automatically identified and can be adjusted.
And never replace.
And there are general exporting and monitoring improvements, as well as a long list of other changes. Now let's have a closer look at Revoice Workflow inside Pro Tools. Mainly, we need to match the frame rate, the sample rate, the SMPT time, BPM, etc. Once we have done this, we can set these settings as default in Revoice by going to File menu and Save as Default Session. It might also be a good idea to set up the same timeline values, like bars and beats for example, if you're working with music. Generally, in Pro Tools, you will find that using the Link plugin is the most efficient way to export or capture and import or spot individual audio tracks to and from Pro Tools. First, you need to open the plugin in Pro Tools through the Audio Suite menu. Then click on the chain icon in Revoice. Then you choose a Revoice destination track. Select the audio in Pro Tools and press Capture. Once you have edited or processed the audio in Revoice, you then select the desired track inside Revoice and select a portion of the destination track in Pro Tools and press Spot. Also, notice the options at the top of the Audio Suite plugin window. Here you can choose between mono or multi-input mode, and also different ways of sending and receiving the audio as one continuous file or as separate files. Synchro Arts recommends the following settings: Playlist, Create Continuous File, and Entire Selection. Also, if you deactivate Use in Playlist, the file will go to the selected track and not just to the Pro Tools playlist. The other two plugins inside Pro Tools are Quick Doubler and Quick APT. These plugins allow you to apply those two processes from within Pro Tools. Revoice needs to be open in the background, but you don't need to operate from it. As I mentioned earlier, APT stands for Audio Performance Transfer, and it is a process that transfers audio parameters like time and pitch from one audio track to another. This is often used in film post-production for automated dialogue replacement. Here I have recorded a dub track with my voice to replace the guide track recorded by Nick from Sonicstate. If you listen carefully, you will notice how closely the two voices are matched. To use Quick APT, first select the guide audio in Pro Tools and press the Capture button. Second, select the dub audio in Pro Tools, tick the Capture Dub box and press the Capture button. Select an output track in Pro Tools, and finally press the Spot button. Now, depending on the track selection, the new audio can replace the previous dub track, or it can be placed into a separate track.
Well, probably asking yourself, where we Sonic Talk, we do music technology podcast. We talk about synthesizers, software, recording technology.
The auto switch tick box switches between guide and dub tracks alternatively. So turn it off when you are going to capture more than one dub track, for example. The doubler generates a realistic double track. In music production, this can be applied to widen the stereo image of a mono instrument. And in this case, I am applying it to an acoustic guitar. To use the Quick Doubler, first select the mono or stereo audio in Pro Tools that you wish to input to the doubler and press the Capture button. Then select a destination track and press the Spot button. Normally, a double output will be sent to a different track than the input track. Before I finish this overview, a few words about installation and activation. To run the software, whether it is a trial or a full version, you will need an iLok USB key, as well as installing the iLok License Manager software. Here you can activate your copy with the relevant activation code. You can find detailed instructions on how to do this in the online manual. So after having a quick look at Revoice 3.3, I have to say I am very impressed with it. Revoice is a versatile and powerful software that can be used in different contexts. In the film industry, Synchro Arts APT processing has been used for dialogue replacement for a number of years, and the recent addition of pitch correction has opened new possibilities in music production. As far as I know, there is no other software that provides automated timing and pitch correction with such quick, accurate, and transparent results. The one thing to take into account is that Revoice is a standalone program, so the usability and the workflow speed will depend on your DAW integration. It is easy enough to get started and get quick results, but as with any complex software, there is a bit of a learning curve if you want to dig deeper. That's all for today. In the next few videos, I will be looking more closely at some revoice processes in different case scenarios. Thanks for watching. See you next time.